Okay, part two of the lesson on Siddhis, which is it was the sum of your spiritual powers. But let me break it down vibrationally for you right quick. Okay, so the word Siddhis has 7 letters, and number 7 rules your third eye, right here. So a lot of your masters and yogis would teach you how to concentrate right in here to try to activate this third eye. But you also have 7 major energy centers called chakras, and they teach you how to activate each center. And as you activate the centers, as you get them to rotate and to spin, and you move up the spine, eventually you get to this third eye, and your third eye will open, and you will see as God sees. You will know as God knows, and you'll be able to do as God do. You won't be you let's not get it twisted. You're the son of God, you're not God. You can do the things, the works of the Father, but not to the same degree of the work of the Father. Okay? You are because God is. You know, God has become all of us. But God has allowed us to tap into, with discipline and with the right teachers, to be able to do all kinds of magnificent things. For example, before I break it down, because I find it fascinating. I spoke about this 3 levels of encasement for the soul, in which most people only are familiar with the physical aspect of it. And I've told you that when you leave this body, either while you're sleeping or when the body is terminated, like in death, you move into your second body, which is your astral body, and that is the body that takes you to where your karma is going to take you in the plane called the astral realm. Now, the astral realm has different levels, and depending on how you live your earthly life, it will determine, where you're going to end up in the astral plane. And then when your karma is completed on the astral plane, you reincarnate back into the physical plane. But then there are souls that has graduated from the physical plane, and they're now on the astral plane, and they're working to rid themselves of the astral body to move into the third body, which is the causal body. The causal body is the body of ideas. And let me tell you now, your brothers that's on the causal plane, when they think about something, it manifests instantaneously. And if they wanted to create a galaxy, they only have to will it, and a galaxy is manifested. In the biography of a yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda, he speaks of a great avatar by the name Mahavatar Babaji that understands that when you're one with the will of God, and since God's creation is nothing but a dream, once you become one with the dream, you can make any changes within the dream. And so there is a chapter in which he manifests a palace for one of his disciples named Lahiri Mahasaya. And and Yogananda explains how Mahavatar Babaji was able to do it. So for those that's interested in following up on that, just get a copy of the autobiography of a yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda and read the chapter on materializing a palace. This was the desire of Lahiri Mahasaya, and this desire kept him from fulfilling his mastership in a previous life. So he had to die and reincarnate because he had that one desire. And so his teacher or his master, Babaji, gave him that experience. And once he had that experience, he became a self-enlightened master in his own right. So the point I'm making is that our brothers is on the causal plane. They can just manifest a universe, a galaxy. On the physical plane, we do things like, manifesting like airplanes and skyscrapers, and we build pyramids, and we're great with our technologies. And that's pretty good on the physical level. But just imagine if you had the power to manifest a whole universe. You understand? To put things in perspective, this is some of the stuff that you're capable of doing. So let me break down the word of Siddhis right here. So the word has 7 letters, and number 7 rules your third eye. This eye, when activated through spiritual disciplines, allows you to activate your hidden powers of Siddhis. Okay. The letter S hydrographically is open at the top, allowing energy to flow outwards, and it has an open at the bottom, also allowing energy to flow outward, and is ruled by the number 1 and the number of first cause. We are a perfect reflection of God and endowed with many powers. Letter I vibrates to the number 9, the number of universal consciousness and awareness. As children of the Most High, our souls are connected to creation, and we have the power to communicate with all life forms, animated and unanimated. That's a beautiful truth there. Your loved ones are never separated from you. Only thing you have to do is think of them, and they're there because we are all connected. And there is no time and space. That is the illusion of Maya. So you can make contact with the ancient ones. You can make contact with Jesus. You can make contact with Buddha. You can make contact with any ancestor because we all are one, and there is no time and there's no space. But you have to will that. You have to want that. You have to desire that. Like on a physical level, if you want to become a great basketball player or a great opera singer, that's what you desire, and then you must put some work into it to achieve that objective. So if you want to be able to make contact with your ancestors, you got to put some work in it. You have to learn to, focus the mind, concentrate the mind. You have to practice your breathing. You may have to do some few different types of exercises, but the most important thing is accepting that you can do it, and then work on becoming better at the doing, better at breathing properly, better at controlling your thoughts. You're a spirit. The only difference is you're a spirit that's in a body, and they're a spirit that's not in a body. But because you're a spirit, you can make contact with them. That will shall be done. So you can communicate with all life forms. Okay, there's you have souls that understands the communication of animals. In our mythologies, like in Jungle Book, we know these things to be true, but we have a hard time grasping it. In the movie Jungle Book, the main character, he communicates with animals. He can hear animals. He communicates with animals. That's not a fantasy. That is based in reality. But because we cannot do it, we kind of discard it and say, oh, that's just fantasy, or that is just make-believe. No, you have the capability of communicating with all life forms, animated and inanimated. But let me move on. Now, the word Siddhis contains double D's, which is ruled by the number 4, and the number 4 rules discipline. That's the key word there. To activate your Siddhis, one must be willing to apply the energy and willingness to tap into these mighty powers. You got to have discipline. If you don't have the discipline, you need discipline to achieve anything in life, right? If you want to become a baseball player, you got to have the discipline to get up and practice hitting that ball. You got to practice catching. You got to be disciplined to sit up under a coach and listen to what the coach have to say. You got to have the discipline to run the plays. It takes discipline to achieve anything in your life. Nothing is just going to be given to you without effort. That will shall be done. You have to put thought behind the idea. You have to do that. You have to make it happen by action and by willing it to be so. The stronger the will, the quicker the manifestation. And I've given you an exercise. And I told you, if you repeat the Lord's name, which is Japa, Japa, this will increase your ability to manifest quicker, because the vibration of the Lord's name will burn off the obstructions that keeping you from manifesting. Okay? So repeating the Lord's name burns off your karma, burns off the illusion, because there's nothing more powerful than the name of the Lord. I don't care which name you use, they all are vibrating at a high frequency. I don't care if you use Lord Jesus Christ, Mother Mary, Lord Krishna, Buddha, Muhammad. You just have to have a willingness to commit to the discipline until you start seeing the results. The results will come if you do the work. Like I say, if you would build it, they will come. If you would do the work, then you will be able to increase your magnetic pull, and you will be able to pull these yogis and these masters into your energy field, and then they will start showing you how to bring about the realizations, allowing you to tap into your siddhis. But once again, that's not the goal. The goal is to become connected with God. A lot of people get caught up in their powers. When we look at our sci-fi movies, we have people that have powers, but you have the antagonist and you got the protagonist. You have the one that's dealing with the black power, the one that wants to use their power to destroy creation or to rule creation. And then you have the positive power that's trying to subdue the negative power. You understand? But you get caught into the power trap, and you have to move beyond that. Okay? God says beyond the powers. Don't get trapped in the powers. It's good to have them, but you must use them with wisdom and understanding. I gave you an example. A master has the ability to freeze water, all the water around the world. But to what purpose will it serve? Why would he do that? An enlightened master will not use his power for destruction. That's one indicator of an enlightened master. He will never use his power for destructive purposes like freezing all the oceans. It makes no sense. It would be a selfish thing to do, and too many other creatures would die because of that selfish act. So he would never do it. All right. So letter H vibrates to the number 8, the number dynamic power. Each power that you develop must be held in check by wisdom. Letter I vibrates to number 9. The word Siddhis has 2 9s, which are separated by letters D, D, H. This separation does not dilute its power of universal power. Number 9 rules universal compassion, one of the hardest lessons to master. Most cannot get beyond the selfishness of the number 1. So there you go. Number 9 is the most benevolent of all the numbers because it rules compassion, not just for your immediate family, but for all of humanity. The number 1 is a very elementary number, and its primary concern is about what's in it for me, myself, and I. You have to move away from individualism and understand that you're part of the collective consciousness, and what you do on the individual level affects the totality of life. So if you're thinking negative thoughts, then you are making a contribution to the negative pool of thoughts. So your job is to create positive thoughts to connect with other positive thoughts. And I spoke about how you have the left energy and the right energy, the yin and the yang. You have to find your balance. You are an individual, but you are also connected to everyone else. You're not isolated. And you have to get away from that consciousness of we're thinking that it's just about us. So the 9th level is the level of universal compassion. All right. And it's a hard lesson for most of us to master because we always thinking about me. We don't really want to share. We don't want to share the resources. People living in poverty, and one person may have like $5 billion, right? And he won't spend a dime to help a person that's living on the streets. So anyhow, letter S is coming at the end, and it's a firm truth that God is our Father, and He is the Alpha and Omega. All powers originate and dissolve with the Supreme Mother. We are allowed to tap into our infinite abilities, but we must not misuse these powers. The number pattern for Siddhis is 1944891. It contains 5 power numbers, which are the number 14481, which indicates that we are powerful beings. The double nines warns us not to use these abilities for selfish purposes, but to aid humanity. When combined, we derive at the compound number 36, reduced down to the digit 9. The number of love and compassion. Great masters, teachers, and yogis return to earth with deep respect, understanding, and compassion, with a willingness to help us tap into our possibilities. So I'm going to leave a few links so you guys can follow up on this lesson if you care to do so. And what I've been instructed to do is to share what's been shared with me. That's all I'm doing. That's what I've been told to do, is to share. So I'm sharing. Why? Because someone has shared with me. Now, you don't have to accept it. You don't have to reject it. You don't have to do anything with it. But in order to become what you want to become, you have to know that it's possible. You have to have you have to be able to have a target. If I say, hey, let's go for a drive. Okay, we get in the car and we start driving. Eventually, someone will say, well, where are we going? I said, I don't know. I'm just going to drive it around. I'm just going to drive it around. But at some point, even when you're just driving aimlessly, you end up with a destination. You end up going somewhere. You're like your inner space, your inner being eventually will guide you to where you need to go. But if you set out and say, well, okay, I want to go to Las Vegas, or I want to go to New Jersey. Now you know where you want to go. You're not driving aimlessly. You, you, you'll be able to achieve your goal quicker once you know where you want to go. And if I'm telling you that you are a child of the Supreme Mother, and that you have these powers available to you, and if you just say, okay, let me investigate this on my own. Don't take Andre's word for it. Let me check it out for myself, because you read about these souls that have these capabilities. You hear about Moses parting the Red Sea. You hear about Lord Jesus Christ, when Peter's ear was cut off and he's able to, replace his ear. You hear about Elisha, raising the widow's son. You read about these things, and then you write about them in your sci-fi, but you miss the connection. It's like you feel as though that's for others, but that's not for you. And I'm telling you that is you. You just have to understand that Maya is putting this veil over your eyes and blocking you from your truth. So anyhow, until the next video, I know this is a long one here, but it was placed upon my heart to share this information with you. So I'm being obedient to my teachers, to my gurus, to my masters, to my higher self, and I'm kicking it out to you, right? That's all they instructed me to do, is kick it out to you. So I've done that. So to the next video, peace.